we could really have a conversation about this one because we got Do Bronx, man, the champion, unified, official, lightweight champion, who opens up as a plus 135 underdog in his first title defense against the Diamond, number 1 ranked Dustin Poirier, a.k.a. the People's Champ. Folks, so if you were listening to the intro, that's why I said you got the People's Champ versus the actual crowned unified champion, because for Poirier to open up as a minus 160 favorite is a little telling. Oliveira has way better grappling than Poirier. Their striking could be somewhat equal if you really think about it. Poirier has the big bombs, great shoulder rolls, but Oliveira is so technical, so many knockouts. I mean, let's look at the record. 31-18 for Do Bronx, 9 knockouts, 19 submissions. Poirier, 28-6, 14 knockouts, 7 submissions. I mean, Oliveira, I think that we have a very definitive advantage on the ground. I think it's a little more closer on the feet. And when we're talking about ground and pound and top control, I think Poirier has the edge there. So tell me what you think of the odds first, man. Do you think that Poirier should be a favorite in this fight?
It's hard to say because I honestly feel like this one, I battled this literally. I had my picks ready midday yesterday, but I spent so long, literally probably like 5 hours just battling back and forth. Like, who has the advantage? Because I agree with you. In the striking, pretty close. Charles Oliveira, very long, very lanky. He can hit you from ranges you're not seeing coming. Dustin might have the power advantage. We'll see. A little time to tell on that one because Charles Oliveira is very powerful himself. Oh, yeah. Dustin Poirier, the ground and pound, the top control goes to him. The bottom game, the submissions attempts, Charles Oliveira, he's always active. This one is really a toss-up for me. Maybe it's because the way that the Diamond has just been doing it for so long and everyone agrees that he should have been fighting for the championship in the last fight, not taking the money fight, that maybe that's why he's the favorite. But honestly, man, don't sleep on Charles Oliveira. That's a dog. And it's crazy to say that there's a dog as a champion. Like, this is crazy, man. I would have had it a little bit closer, maybe even Charlie Olives as the actual favorite going forward, especially because the way he was able to put out Michael Chandler in his last fight, basically out of nowhere in round 1, hit him hard, hit him fast, and then went in for the kill. We didn't really see that much happening, or I don't know if I can see that happening to Dustin Poirier, nor do I see Dustin Poirier doing that to Charles Oliveira going forward. I think we're in for a long fight. What about you?
I think so as well, my man. Unless, I mean, believe it or not, the over and under on this 5-round championship fight is 1.5 rounds. So clearly the odds makers think it's going to end early, but I don't necessarily see it that way just because I think Poirier, we've seen him be able to deal with grappling, right, at very high levels. Look at it. For Khabib, it took Khabib 3 rounds to finally submit Dustin Poirier. And, like, you know, finally submit, right? I mean, listen, 3 rounds, that's not the longest amount of time. But still, for Khabib, the dude who's just starching everybody, right, that's pretty impressive, right? Now, for Oliveira, seeing the battle of adversity that he took against Michael Chandler, where a lot of people thought Michael Chandler, they were about to say and knew, he just put Oliveira out, you know, came back second round and just came back unfazed, technical. Like first round didn't even happen. And that's what you got to have, a short memory. Come in there. Every round is a new round. Every single round is 0-0. I got to get the win on this one. So the interesting thing to me on this one, my man, is that I've been envisioning the same way you have. How does the ground game work out? Because you know it's eventually going to get there. But what happens? Is Oliveira just going to tie Poirier up like a pretzel? Or where does the fight need to take place for that to happen? Because I think if Oliveira can get Poirier down in the middle of the cage, right, in the middle of the octagon, and work his jiu-jitsu from there, he'll have much more success than if he tries to do it against the fence. Because if Poirier gets you against the cage, we've seen it time and time again, you're in trouble. You're in big, big trouble. And AJ, you know what reminds me of that situation is when Charles Oliveira fought Paul Felder a couple of years back, and Paul Felder smashed elbows into Oliveira's face against the cage, and I mean, listen, more or less broke the man. You know what I'm saying? Like, he got the win. I'm not sure if that was the same fight. There was one of these fights where Oliveira lost, and it was due to a throat contusion. I don't remember if that was the Felder fight. Do you know what I'm talking about? Where Oliveira literally, like, he got hit in the throat or something. He basically had to quit. He was like, but that's a serious fucking injury. That's not, you know what I'm saying? Your esophagus gets destroyed or whatever. You're like, yo, I would like to breathe. That would be nice. But that's the narrative, AJ. So talk to me about the narrative and your thoughts on it. The narrative going into this is that Charles Oliveira is never going to be a true champion because he has too much of a propensity to quit when the going gets tough. That he is a man who can be broken easily. He's been broken in the past, and that he can be broken again. I don't necessarily agree with that assessment, but I'm interested in your take on that narrative.
Yeah, I don't necessarily agree with it. I mean, I'm all about second chances, third chances, fourth chances. If you can turn yourself around, we saw in the Michael Chandler fight where if he was willing to give up and he wanted to quit on himself, he easily could have. Like
Yeah.
there was the Michael Chandler had him basically dead to rights, and then like you said it best, Derek, Charles Oliveira came out literally like nothing happened. Literally came out 0-0. We're here for the game plan. We're going to keep it going and put on a star-studded performance. Now, speaking to Charles Oliveira's pass, it's a little bit cloudier. It's a little bit muggier. He was kind of trying to find himself. He was growing, man. This dude's only 32 years old in the prime of his life right now. You know, the fact that, yeah, he might have quit on himself back in the past, we all have. We've all done that. Charles Oliveira is no different. He's still a man amongst men over here and probably has one of his toughest challenges going forward as somebody who has probably never ever quit on themselves. You know, Dustin Poirier with his foundation and with the way he lives his life, this dude has a very strong mental game going forward, and it could be one of the biggest X factors we see going into this one is how each other talks to themselves in their private time. You know, when the chips get down, how do you speak to yourself? Are you one of those ones that's going to say, you know, encouraging things, going to keep you going, going to keep you motivated, or are you one of the ones that kind of starts doubting yourself, doubting you know your skills and whatnot? It's I can see where people think that Charles Oliveira has the propensity for that negative talk, but as of late and as of the way he's feeling after that Michael Chandler fight and even the Tony Ferguson, the Kevin Lee, all these fights going forward, I don't see him quitting on himself like he used to. He definitely has in the past, and we've seen it come forward and kind of that speaking to that narrative. I just don't see it playing out that way anymore, man. I think with the wins he's had and the flow he's going on and the momentum he's been tracking for, I don't see Charlie Alders being able to think any less of himself going forward anymore, man. What about you, Derek?
I pretty much agree with your assessment, my man. There's something that we noted when he first won the championship is this is a man coming out of the favelas of Brazil. This is a dude, and I was just talking with my jiu-jitsu professor, Romu Caedo, man, and this is another Brazilian himself, and he was saying that Charles Oliveira, when he won the championship, he went back to Brazil, got a truckload of food, and went door to door and started just handing out food to people. Like, he's a man of the people, truly. The people celebrate Oliveira out there in Brazil. So this is a man who brought tremendous pride to his country. I have a hard time thinking that he's just going to be like, oh, I'll just let this championship go. No big deal. You know what I mean? You're the man of the people now. Now you got to make sure that you defend this belt and you are truly that person. You have a lot of questions to answer. You are a man truly. People talk about being from the hood. This man's from the hood. You know what I'm saying? Of Brazil. That's a different level of hood. That ain't American hood right there. That's real hood. So I think the man being able to get it done at a shoot the box, Diego Lima, it's even more impressive and even more telling, man. You know, it's a great culture out there, and fighters are bred and born right there in Brazil. So I think Charles Oliveira still has a very good shot at winning this fight, but I think the other technical aspect that is going to make this interesting is this is orthodox versus southpaw. Poirier being the southpaw, Oliveira being the orthodox fighter, my man. So with the orthodox fighter having the longer reach, it's going to be interesting because Poirier is going to have to get on the inside. I don't know how much he's going to work that liver kick too much, but when it comes down to it, even in the striking, would you agree that Oliveira is a little more multidimensional than Poirier? Poirier gets a lot of his work done with the boxing, a lot of it, good calf kick, all that good stuff. But Oliveira has great front kicks to touch your jaw, teeps to the body, calf kicks, crazy strikes, elbows, the whole entire nine. So with Poirier's more fundamental, I would say like that. And fundamental is never a bad thing, right? A basic fundamental approach against the advanced, flashy style of Oliveira. Who do you think can be more effective over the course of 5 rounds? Let's say that this was just a purely striking match and grappling didn't exist. Who do you think would be the more effective striker over 5 rounds between these two?
See, I'm gonna have to lead with the fundamentals on this one, man. I think the more basic you can get, and basic is again not a bad word. Fundamentals are not a bad word. If you're staying consistent with it and on and like continually hitting that exact mark back and forth, and there's nothing you can do to stop it, and the guy doesn't know the fundamentals to get past that one move.
Yeah.
It's hard, man. And then it's nice. What's nice about that is with those fundamentals, you're able to keep composed. You're able to keep the gas tank in line. Whereas if you're throwing these flashy roundhouse kicks to the face, you know, using all those body, you really start to drain yourself. And nothing worse than when you're throwing one of those crazy kicks up, the guy sees it coming, he just pulls up just out of the way, just enough, just to let it slide right by his nose. You don't even think, they're like, damn, all right. Or maybe you catch him, but it wasn't the hardest punch because it's one of those ones that's winging and he saw it coming, he's able to brace for it. And then your kind of mentality gets a little demoralized on that aspect. I'm going fundamentals on that one. What about you?
Yeah, I'd agree with you. I just think it's going to be more energy conservation for Dustin Poirier. I think we'd be able to see him dig deep throughout 5 rounds, multiple times, or even 3 rounds where he's just going and it's the deep waters, the bloody deep waters, shout out, and he's just over there getting it, not getting tired. I do think that Dustin Poirier, man, if the fight favors Poirier if it goes longer. I think it favors Oliveira if it goes shorter. And with that being said, my man, the final question we have to answer here, and still or and new come Saturday night?
Ooh, man, I'm going and new. I'm going with the people's champ, my man. And I'm actually taking this one at distance. I think Dustin Poirier is going to get it done at a decision. I think it's going to be a very long fight. And I agree with you. If this one goes shorter, it's leaning a little bit more towards Oliveira. Yeah. But I'm going with the Diamond, man. I've been rocking with Diamond basically since day one. Maybe not his first fight, but probably his second and his third since. I've been rocking with Diamond for a long time. I'm sticking with it. Dustin Poirier by decision. What about you, Derek?
So I'm going to give you my pick, but I'm going to give you a little story before I do that, man. And this is just a story of the reckoning of Dustin the Diamond Poirier, the Louisiana's finest. So when he fought Max Holloway, I believe I picked for Holloway. And Poirier showed the people, why the fuck do you think this little dude could come up to my weight class and beat me in a striking match? Yeah, all right. Poirier got the job done. He fights Khabib. Obviously, I pick Khabib. That's just a different story. He loses. Okay, I'm right on that one, but it's not a hard pick. He fights Dan Hooker next. No pick on that one. I let it be. It was what it was. He got the big win over Hooker. That was a very telling win. That was a gutsy 5-round war right there. He fights McGregor for the second time. I picked Poirier. You picked McGregor on that fight. I was like, okay, the Diamond. He got it done. I told you, right? They rematch. I say, I don't know. I think McGregor got this one. You pick Poirier. Poirier wins. Suffice it to say, I've been wrong about Dustin Poirier many times in picking against him. And I think that when the moment shines the brightest, when all the chips are on the table, when this is 25 minutes for the rest of your life, I think that's when Dustin Poirier shines. And for that reason, I am picking Dustin Poirier, unanimous decision. I'm taking the over, way on the over. This is 1.5 rounds for the over, so super over. Decision win by Poirier, gutsy and new. I think this is finally going to be the absolute intertwinement of all of the money fights, the actual championship. One of the biggest underdogs to do it in terms of a man who people would think would be a champion one day. He's going to get up there with the Michael Bispings of the world. He's going to get up there with the Michael Moores of the world. You feel me? Over there beating Evander Holyfield or Buster Douglas beating Mike Tyson. I think this is going to be one of those situations. Oliveira is not Mike Tyson, but I'm talking about the things he had to overcome in his career to get to the title. Come on, what are we talking about? So I'm going the Diamond. You already know what time it is. And new, both of us on this one, my man. So we're picking and still for Nunes and new for the lightweight championship. Should be a fun one, man. Should be a fun one.